This is Evenings with Mel Bush on ABC Radio Hobart and ABC Northern Tasmania.
It's 8:11. Dreams, they're weird at the best of times. But what about when your dream is incredibly vivid, but suddenly you realise, hang on a minute, I'm dreaming. But nevertheless, continue to dream and essentially enjoy the show. That's lucid dreaming. Can we control it? Should we try? Teresa Anderson is an author and dream analyst. And Teresa, welcome back to Evenings. How did I go? Is that a reasonable explanation of a lucid dream, or am I just off?
No, that was absolutely brilliant. It is, every dream feels real while you're in it. And when you wake up, you can sometimes be quite shocked. I thought that was real life in that dream.
Yeah.
So it's even more stunning when you're in the dream and you suddenly think, hang on a minute, this is a dream. And instead of being catapulted out into awake, you actually find yourself still there. And it's like you're in two realities at once. You've got this waking life reality, which you know about, and you're also in the dream, which feels very real. And from that point, all sorts of things can happen if you can stay lucid. A lot of people go, oh, I'm in a dream, and then, back in the dream and lost the awareness of it.
Yeah, or you wake up wishing that you could have stayed there for a little while longer. At what level of sleep do lucid dreams occur?
They occur at the same level of sleep that a normal dream does. Mm-hmm. So normally we go to sleep and we go through 5 levels of sleep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, funnily enough, they're called. And the 5th one is the dreaming phase. And when we go really deep into the first 4 phases, then we come up into the dreaming phase. And the dreaming phase is actually very close to waking up. And that's when most of our dreams happen. And the only difference between lucid dreaming and dreaming is the fact that for some strange reason, some part of your brain goes, oh, I've got it. This is a dream. Yeah, you're still in the REM phase. Everything else is normal dream, but there's this extra factor, which is your consciousness, which is usually well asleep.
So therefore, if you have awareness, it stands to reason that there should be some level of control available to you.
Yes, and there is.
Great.
For a lot of people, I have to say it at the outset, I've had quite a few lucid dreams, but I'm not an expert lucid dreamer. I can't, say, I'm going to have 2 lucid dreams this week. It's more, if it happens, it happens.
Yes, yeah.
And most people, even the most experienced lucid dreamers, will have sometimes momentary control before they lose it or the dream takes over. But yes, it's that critical moment. So a lot of people that know they lucid dream a lot actually prepare for this. Next time I'm lucid, I am going to fly, swim, play the piano perfectly, whatever it is. You get it all lined up, ready. My son used to, what was my son's one? Dive through a television set was one of his, and then he'd wake up, I got my lucid dream, I dove through the television set. But mostly you are so astounded by the situation that most people, including me, the only thing you can think of is, oh yes, I'm going to fly. Because even though you're in the dream and you're dreaming, the sensation of flying, for example, feels totally real. Even though you are conscious it is a dream, it is 100% sense around. So it really is being in 2 realities at the same time. It's not looking on. It's totally being in it and being aware that you can do anything you want if you stay lucid.
So can you train yourself to sort of to control it, or
You can control yourself to stay in it. There's all sorts of tricky things that you can do that. But there are ways that you can train yourself to become lucid in a dream, and they sometimes work. And the most common one is that you set your phone or your alarm. Mm-hmm. You can really annoy everyone around you, but you set your phone for about every half hour throughout the day for a couple of days. And whenever your phone goes off, you say to yourself very seriously, could I be dreaming? And you look around, everything looks perfectly normal, but hey, it often does in a dream too. Could I be dreaming? No, I don't think, but I'll just test this. And as long as you're not on the edge of a tall building, you actually reach up on your tiptoes, you flap your arms, and you just see if you can fly a few inches off the floor. And obviously you're not going to.
Meantime,
because you're wide
work
awake.
colleagues think you're completely mad.
So there are slight variations of this where you just sort of do smaller versions. But because one of the functions of dreaming is to process your waking life experiences, you often, your dream will go, okay, we've got to do this thing about what on earth is she asking herself this question and trying to fly. So it will often come up in your dream. The dream will be going along and you go, is this a dream? And you flap your arms and you lift, and surprisingly, you take off. And at that moment, you realize that you're lucid. And you can do. I have to say, I have often awoken from a dream where I have proven in the dream that I'm not dreaming because I've tried to fly and failed. But you can do it.
You can do it. Okay. Look, a couple of texts coming in. Jane Teresa, I hope that's okay. Todd's texted in. He said, I experienced lucid dreaming once completely by accident a few years ago, but have never found myself able to repeat the experience. Why might that have occurred as a one-off?
Yeah,
Thanks, Todd.
Yes, Todd, I really can't answer your question. I don't know. Nobody's been able to fathom out what it is that causes that trigger, except that for people who do it more than once, there is a practice element.
Right.
But that first time, no idea. This is going to be a total guess, that it could be that there was a sound outside in the environment that began to wake you up a little bit, but not enough to remove yourself from the dream, would be my guess on that one.
Jackie's also texted in. G'day, Jackie. I'm not sure if dreaming of seeing, Jackie, so many people would have, seeing ABBA in concert and meeting them afterwards was lucid dreaming, but it was so real. I often think I have seen and met them when it was only a dream. How can a dream be so real?
That's a lovely question, Jackie. I like that because those of us that do remember a lot of our dreams do remember them with such sense around. They can often, as you said at the beginning, Mel, be really vivid, more vivid than waking life, except when we're in them, we totally believe them. So it is a very small distinction. When you've had a lucid dream, like Todd, you know it. When you haven't had it, you think, yeah, but all my dreams are really, maybe that must have been lucid because it was so real. But it's that moment where you go, this is real and I have another life too. Oh, which is the real reality because it's so real.
It's 8:18 and my guest is author and dream analyst Jane Teresa Anderson. Are lucid nightmares a thing? We're talking about lucid dreaming. Does a lucid nightmare count?
Yes, it does. Yeah, as long as you wake up within the dream and are aware of it, it's lucid.
Oh,
so
that could be awful.
It could be awful, but actually there is a benefit there because if you know a little bit about dreams, so if imagine you're having a nightmare where you're being chased by a monster and you suddenly become lucid, number one, you can say to yourself, the monster isn't actually here, even though it feels like it's a dream, so I'm going to stay in this. And number two, you can apply a dream alchemy, which is what you would normally do when you wake up from a scary dream. So you have a dream of something chasing you. You might wake up and go, okay, I'm going to close my eyes and imagine turning and facing that monster, turn it into something really nice or give it a hug. And what that does is help to stop the dream recurring in the future and also teaches you the value of facing your fears. But if you become lucid in a dream where you're being chased by a monster, you can then go, okay, I'm in control of this dream. I'm going to turn around. I'm going to change the monster into ABBA, the group.
I knew you were going to say that.
So you can actually turn a nightmare around and even sort of add some therapeutic value to it.
A text from Henry who says, hi, Mel and Jane Teresa. Is there an easy way to start with creating a lucid dream, flying or swimming, for instance?
Yes, I have heard some people say that, actually we have more of our dreaming in the later hours of the morning. So I've heard some people say, set an alarm for a couple of hours earlier than you want to get up, walk around, go to the loo, come back to bed and tell yourself that you're going to be lucid when you dream. And apparently for some people that works really well. Another thing, to be more direct, you want to swim and fly, was that right?
Yes, that's it.
So when I was giving that example earlier of setting your alarm every 30 minutes to trying to fly, you could actually try to swim as well. So you're practicing the movement that you want to have when you become lucid. And also just telling yourself over and over again, if I become lucid, I am going to immediately fly. And another little tip here, there are some things that people find very difficult to do in dreams. And one example is, and a lot of people may be able to relate to this, you may get out your mobile phone in a dream, but it's very difficult to actually dial the right number. And it gets really confusing and the screen gets more and more complicated and it gets... Now, if you can tell yourself during waking life that if you encounter a mobile phone in a dream, you'll probably ask yourself if you're dreaming. Or if you're having difficulty phoning a number, ask yourself if you're dreaming, and that can be another way in. And then, yes, you can swim and fly.
Start swimming and flying. Can lucid dreaming, therefore, you were mentioning a way of which I think that's a lovely way of looking at it, of if you're waking up from a nightmare and, saying I'm going to cuddle that monster, or I'm going to, and facing your fears. So can lucid dreaming be used as a kind of therapy?
Yeah, absolutely. In that sense, in changing the nature of the dream, particularly if you know a little bit about what your dream might mean. Also for people that have visualizations or means of coping in waking life, that therapy that involve visualizations, if you actually do it in the dream, you've again got the total sense around kind of feeling for it. And another thing that can be really therapeutic and healing is if there's someone that you would really like to have a conversation with. It might be someone that's died, might be someone you're estranged from. So you can't actually have that conversation, but you want to have it. You want to... whatever you want to say, then once you become lucid in a dream, you can call up that person. Now, they're not actually there. You're doing it all, but you actually get that amazing sensation of actually speaking with a person, saying what you want to say. So it can also be used for role playing. You can even bring up your boss and ask for a raise in your salary. And it feels so real that when you actually come to do the real things, I've already done this before.
Yes, right, okay. A practice run. There you go. Is there an end to what you can achieve? So can you get really creative with your lucid dreaming?
Yeah, people that can really stay in it. As I said, often you're jolted out of it before you get a chance to do it. But people that are really good at it will often do things like, say, bring in whoever their creative hero is. So you're going to have Einstein, you're going to have whoever. And again, the person isn't there, but because you know a little bit about it or you imagine, you have these imaginative, creative conversations. So you can actually take those conversations and go a long way. If you're an artist or a musician, you can have all the fabulous art materials that you haven't actually got in waking life, or all the instruments or high-tech musical stuff and studio stuff that you don't have in waking life, and you can let rip and try it in your dream. So, whereas people will often say they wake up from normal dreams with creative ideas, if you've actually used it as a creative laboratory in a lucid dream, apparently you can have fantastic results and a lot of fun.
What about where children are concerned? Would they find it easier to have lucid dreams than adults?
I do believe they would. I don't actually have any real figures on that, but because children are so beautifully suggestive and they believe what you tell them, I think if you give them something simple like an equivalent of the phone thing, if you know that they regularly dream about a certain item, you can say, next time you see the item, say, oh, I wonder if I'm dreaming, and see if you can fly. Actually, not a good idea to tell a child to fly.
No, maybe
but something
not.
else.
Yeah. We'll come up with another one for that one.
Yeah.
Can it be a bad thing? Can lucid dreaming be disadvantaged?
Yeah, there are disadvantages because the purpose of dreaming is to process our waking life experiences, both conscious and unconscious, to make sense of our world, update our mindset. And if we keep muddling in that and going, no, I'm going to take control, I'm going to change the way this goes, we're not actually allowing that process to finish. So my advice, because it is really exciting if you can do it, is don't do it more than a couple of times a week, and let your other dreams go through their natural processing, because you need that for your physical, physiological, emotional and mental stability.
Yeah. And just another quick text too from Glenda, who's texted in on 0438 922 936 and said, recently I noticed I have recurring colours in my dreams, white, blue and yellow, sometimes red and green. Why might this be?
So this is in a normal dream, not a lucid dream.
I take it, yes, I'm gathering that. Yeah.
So you can't take a dream dictionary approach to dreaming. Everybody's dream symbols mean something specific to them. So where I would start with there is asking yourself, what do the red, the white and the yellow?
Yes.
Yeah. If these colours had a personality, what would they feel like? So some people might say, red means stop. Other people might say red means energy. What does yellow mean? A lot of people might say sunshine or consciousness. So it's finding out what that colour means to you. And then particularly with those three combinations, what would that look like? So as with any dream, you're looking back over the last 1 to 2 days, because your dream is processing the last 1 to 2 days. So in my last 1 to 2 days, what would the energy of those colour combinations represent in my life? What could they possibly mean? And she might even like to explore just maybe painting with those colours and painting and just sticking with those colours and seeing what emotions and feelings they bring up, and that might be a doorway there.
And I'm going to go a little off-piste here, Jane Teresa.
I love off-piste.
I was having this conversation about lucid dreams with Drive presenter Kylie Baxter earlier on today, and Kylie actually brought up astral travel and said, is it related? Is that? And I said, is astral travel even a thing? Oh, yes, says Kylie. Absolutely it is. So is it in any way related, or is astral travel, is that... What is it?
It's a brilliant question, because astral travel is just a word that a lot of people use when they feel that in their dreams they have moved beyond their bed or beyond their house. So commonly in flying dreams, a lot of people say, oh, I astral traveled too because I flew there. But of course, actually, we're not really going anywhere. We're safely tucked up in bed. Yeah. Although you could argue there's all sorts of ways. We are in our mind, we're going places, in our spirit, we're going places. But astral travel is a label that people put on that sensation of being in a different place, not in your body, on your bed. And that specifically, I think people that say that astral travel feel they have left the body. You and I can close our eyes. Right here where I'm standing, I've just closed my eyes and I can leave my body, not in flying away from its sense, but I can become aware that I'm not actually just my body. There's more to me than that. Yeah. So we could apply that to anything. But I think for Kelly, in the direct question, is that most people would say they've astral traveled when they've flown, and most people when they lucid dream go, yay, I'm going to fly now.
But they haven't actually, sort of controlled the fact that they've gone to visit their neighbour,
They haven't. The body hasn't.
Yes,
the mind has. And, which are we, the body or the mind? So, big question.
Maybe. It's 27 past 8. Jane Teresa Anderson, it's always fascinating. Thank you so very much. It's making me feel like I want to practice those lucid dreams because, I could get in my favourite car. I could go wherever I wanted to. I could, yes.
I'll just ask you now, are you dreaming or are we really doing this?
Oh, hang on a minute. Let me see if I can fly. Let's see if I can fly. Can't fly.
No.
Must be here. Jane Teresa, thanks again.
Thank you for having me.
Jane Teresa Anderson, who is an author and a dream analyst. And yes, I absolutely did just flap my hands around there just a little bit. It's at 28 past 8. Still to come, the cryptic Tassie quiz.